day. Because a lot of people think that if they do intermittent fasting, 16 hours, I skip breakfast, I get to autophagy and I rejuvenate my cells. There's a lot of fake marketing there, a lot of authors of books, a lot of social media
I have
influence.
read that. I have read that.
Yeah, and
So
it's
that's not
big.
real?
Embark on a journey to defy time with LMAO, Laughing My Age Off podcast. I'm your host, Erica Kelly, and I started this show because, like you, I'm curious about the secrets to staying youthful as the years go by. Join me as we discover the secrets to slowing down the aging process, exploring expert insights, cutting-edge research, and personal experiences that uncover the art of aging gracefully. It's time to laugh, learn, and embrace a life full of vitality together.
All right. In today's Laughing My Age Off podcast, we are going to talk to a special person today. And I just want to remind our listeners, if you are new to this podcast and you just happen to come onto this episode, the Laughing My Age Off podcast is a podcast where we want to learn ways to slow down the aging process. And in addition, we always want to provide our listeners some tools that can help us age with vitality. And I am thrilled to welcome today Dr. Joseph. He is a trailblazing leader, globally recognized expert in longevity with a rich background in medicine, health policy, and entrepreneurship. Dr. Joseph brings a dynamic and transformative perspective to the pursuit of optimal health and extended lifespan. His mission to push the frontiers of longevity science and make a longer, healthier life accessible to everyone. Dr. Joseph is dedicated to turning groundbreaking research into practical, evidence based solutions that can change our lives. So, welcome, Dr. Joseph. How are you today?
Thank you, Erica. Excellent. Love to be here with you. And hopefully, we're going to change somebody's life today.
Yes, that is the goal. That is the goal. And I just want to open up. This is kind of our first time. I like to let listeners know just a little background, a little bit about you, right? So we're going to talk about a few things that are going to change people's lives today. But let's start off with your life, right? You've got a
Yeah.
background that was a huge resume that I just, rattled off. And I am particularly interested in, especially when it comes to doctors with so much education, you have so many things that you can go into to practice in. And your background, you decided to pursue is longevity and anti-aging. So can you speak a little bit about that? Like, how did you fall into this focus in your
Yeah.
practice?
No, Erica, I wanted to be a doctor because I thought a doctor's mission is to cure, diseases and help people live long. This is when I went to medicine, and I did do my MD, PhD, and a couple of masters under those,
Oh
and
my goodness.
Harvard and
Couple of masters?
Hopkins.
Okay.
So, and Harvard and Hopkins, and I had everything set in front of me to be a top cardiologist, probably Harvard. But then when I started doing my rotations at the hospital, I was like, how come we're accepting to practice this what I call sick care, right? We were only seeing people after they had a say heart attack or blood
Mhm.
pressure or whatever issues, blood glucose. We were subscribing them to a pill that they had to take every day of their lives. And I remember I used to tease my attending. I was asking them, "Hey, if this is working, this prescription, why do they have to refill it every month?"
Right.
And it was baffling for me that we're all subscribing like passively to this system where, hey, sorry you got, this issue and today 90% of us will die from a chronic disease, right? Cardiovascular cancer, Alzheimer's,
Sure.
and and diabetes. And none of them we have a pill that you take for like 2 months and you'll be cured. It doesn't exist. So they're subscribing us to pills, multiple pills, and then we're going to take them for the rest of our lives. And you say, okay, if I'm going to live 10 years longer, that's fine. And then when you look at the life expectancy in the US, it's shrinking. We
Yeah.
lost last year half a year on the life expectancy of an average US citizen.
Oh, we did.
I'm
What is it
looking
now? Is it like, I
I
know
remember,
women tend
I
to
think
age a little
close
bit.
to the 80, yeah, 80 to 82 between men and women. But we lost half a year.
Mm.
And it's still very short. I mean, we can live 100 easy today if we eat healthy, and we're going to talk about the pillars of longevity. But that became my goal, is what kind of system we have built. It's a sick care system at best. It's helping us live sick. I mean, we used to say sick long, but now it's sick short almost.
It's called sick care, right? It's not healthcare.
Yeah, it's sick care. And then my first reaction is maybe I should go study health policy and public health and push for prevention. And this is what I did. I did my health policy studies at Harvard. I did Hopkins Public Health, and they were the top in the nation. And I launched a career where I was advising ministries of health around the world about how to do more prevention and how about to be preventative. The issue there is that prevention was a set of recommendation, and the recommendations were eat healthy, everyone knows that. Exercise more, everyone knows that. Stop smoking. It was very commoditized and it wasn't sexy, and people were not willing to trade short-term pleasures like eating popcorn across late night,
Right.
across Netflix, eating the burger that they put in front of you for these preventative measures. So I got frustrated with that system. And then I started looking at what I call product-based solution. How can we consumerize prevention? How can we consume prevention? Because people love to consume. We like products, right? We like to getting
Yes,
products.
we are. America's known for that.
Yeah,
Give me
that's
something
actually,
to buy. Let me follow something. I mean, that's why dieting is such a huge industry, right? There's so many
yeah.
ways to do it, but if you give me a way to do it, you know, that's what people
And this is
need.
why pharma also is another industry. You pop a pill, it's easy. This is why the GLP-1s today and Ozempic is so big, because people are willing to inject a biological, biochemical thing in their body
Yeah,
to shortcut the weight loss, right? I mean, this is the easier route. Unfortunately, we're geared towards it.
sure.
And so two things then changed my life. I was like, okay, I met a thought leader in aging and longevity. And his first reaction, we were sitting actually at O'Hare Airport in a lounge, and he said, medicine got everything wrong. It's all about aging. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, you think diabetes is different than cancer, is different than Alzheimer's, is different than cardiovascular. You guys in medicine have built, different specialties and different, they're all
Hmm.
the same. I was like, what do you mean they're all the same? And like, when you get old, if the brain ages first and express symptoms first, you call it Alzheimer's or dementia.
Right.
But hey, the heart is going to follow and you're going to get a heart attack after that because the heart is also aging. And now you call it cardiovascular. But for him, all these chronic diseases are age-related chronic diseases. And if we treat aging, meaning if we slow down aging, it'll be the best expansion of human health span, meaning
Amen. Amen.
keeping people,
That's
yeah, keeping people healthier longer, right?
yes. Yes. And I'm so glad you're here because honestly, I love this stuff. That's why I started this podcast because I'm just like, I don't know it all, but people like you are appearing now in my life. And it's like, yes, let's do it. Let's find ways to just age better. I'm all
Yeah.
about that. I'm over 40 chronologically,
Yes,
but my number's over 40, but I'm hoping I'm a little bit younger, you know,
yeah. And
and
that's
everywhere
the
else.
most important thing you can do to your health today.
Yeah.
For everyone listening today, if you keep your cells and your metabolism younger than your age, so say you're 42, and then but inside your metabolism and your cells are 36, guess what?
Right.
You just have 6 years of healthy life because at age 36, inside in inner age, you're not going to have a heart attack. You're not going to start your Alzheimer's. You're not going to get cancer, and you're not going to develop diabetes. And that's the goal. But once you touch 50 and 55, hey, maybe you're starting Alzheimer's, maybe you're starting dementia, maybe you're starting diabetes. So staying younger from the inside is the best healthcare we can do today.
I agree. I agree.
And
So then, okay, so you met this person in O'Hare, and then you're like, I'm just gonna shift into this,
aging field.
yeah, the
Yeah.
aging field. Okay.
Now the
And
next
and so then, you talk about these pillars and you mentioned them earlier, but you believe the pillars of longevity are nutrition, fasting, exercise, stress management, and social connection. So, we were talking about this before we started to hit record, but like one of my first podcasts was about centurions. And I think most of those are in there except the fasting. I didn't elaborate too much because I'm not as much of an expert, which is perfect because you're here. But do you want to start breaking down those pillars a little bit?
Yeah, my
Okay.
first reaction is how can we how can we delay aging, right?
Right.
And the five pillars are nutrition, exercise, stress, sleep, and social capital, and
Mm-hmm.
giving receiving love. So fasting goes under nutrition. And when I asked him what is the most studied today intervention you can do to slow down your age, it was fasting and calorie restriction. And this is what took me under nutrition to go and got interested in fasting. And then I started visiting all the aging labs, all the anti-aging, if you want to think about it, or longevity labs around the world, from Singapore all the way to San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
Literally was on a plane for 3 years. I visited every, going through Boston and Sinclair and all the way down to LA, the Longevity Institute at University of Southern California, and
Mm-hmm.
visited Walter Longo, who's considered now, if you go to ChatGPT, he's considered the leading longevity expert and researcher around the world. And Walter Longo, everyone said he has the very first product that can go to market to increase human longevity, and it's called the fasting mimicking nutrition. And this is
Mm-hmm.
how my journey started. I was like, wait a second, there's a product called
You
fasting mimicking
went there
nutrition.
and they're like, have you heard about this fasting mimicking diet?
Yeah, and this is what my journey started with fasting. So I was like, tell me about the science, why this is important, and why fasting is a
Right.
longevity intervention. And so it turns out to be that, you have two stages in fasting. There's the intermittent fasting, which is between 0 hours all the way to 2 days. A lot of people do 16 hours,
Sure.
but it's any time between 0 and 2 days. You call it intermittent fasting.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that so? Because when you don't eat, your body has a reserve that it can break down to compensate for the deficit in calories, right? It's
Right.
like when you have a company and say you need $1 million to operate the company, and suddenly you don't have revenues. You say, okay, I have a checking account, I have a savings account, and I can borrow some money from the bank. The body does the same thing. The checking account, we call them glycogen. These are reserves in the muscle and the liver. You go to them first, the first few hours. Then you go to your savings accounts after that. So you go to fat, you break down fat, you enter
Right.
into ketosis. This happens after the first night, around the first night, and then around that 12 to 15, 16, 17 hours, depending of how metabolism of the person, the height, the weight, the BMI. I'm not going to go into details.
Yeah.
But around that, after the first night, you start getting into ketosis and you're breaking down fat. And then the third thing is you ask the bank for a loan, and the body goes to the liver in day two and says, "Hey, can you dump some of the reserve? We call it neoglucogenesis. Can you produce new glucose, new carbs, and put them into the blood?" And this is what happens on day two. So the first 2 days, you have enough reserve to compensate for the deficit.
Right.
Okay, so go back to your example. You're the CEO. You need $1 million. You now used your cash in the bank. You're going to go bankrupt unless you fix the company. You're going to go and say, let me restructure. Let me cut all unnecessary expenditure. Let me invest in the best talent I have. Let me fix everything that potentially is going wrong so that we go back and we operate and we save the company. And that's exactly the magic of fasting. On day three, the body tells the cells, I'm going bankrupt. You got to fix the inside of the cell and you got to be in best operation, best shape ever so that we survive together. Now, think about this. You have 37 trillion cells in the body. 37 trillion cells live on calories. And when you fast, all of them are under the pressure to be at their best.
Right.
So when a cell rejuvenates, we call that autophagy, self-rejuvenate, self-eat. And this phenomenon won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2016. So it's a very well-established phenomenon now. And so what you're doing is you're losing weight the first 2 days, you're using the reserves. So every metabolic disease, blood pressure, blood sugar, overweight, you're fixing the metabolism in the first 2 days. Then you're fixing the cells as of day three. All the way to day five, we studied is a very healthy fixing of the cells. When you go longer, you're getting closer to the bankruptcy. So 5 days of fasting was an ideal period to reset metabolism and rejuvenate the cells.
And
And
this,
that,
can I pause for a second?
yeah,
So just to break this down for some of our listeners who are, I'm very familiar with the fasting and that analogy with the check checkbook. And that's a great analogy. I love that. So thanks for breaking it down for us that way. So when we're talking about this analogy, this is no food, right? No calories, just water. Is that what
Yeah.
it's based on?
So the water fast is, I'm just describing what happens if you do water fast for 5 days.
Okay, so that's what that one was based on. Okay.
Yeah. Now the problem is nobody wants to do, no CEO wants to be close to bankruptcy every time to fix the
Right.
company. It's so difficult. So when humans, it's very difficult for them to fast for 5 days. There's a lot of benefits, as we said. You lose a lot of weight, you reset your metabolism, you rejuvenate your cells. So you go younger. This is why fasting longevity. So you're fixing your metabolism, you're getting your cells younger. So this prolonged fasting of 5 days is the best known today age reversal. You're reversing the age of the
I've done
cell.
up to 48 hours one time and
Yeah,
I had so much energy, but I don't know. 5 days sounds
yeah.
crazy.
This is why when we studied the animals first in mice, what happens to mice, and it was showing unbelievable age rejuvenation. A lot of health conditions were being reversed. When we went to the human trials, USC partnered with Mayo Clinic to do water fast first on humans. It was very difficult. So when we showed the US government the results, the NIH is the biggest US arm that invests into disruptive true healthcare technologies. When we showed them the results in mice, they actually decided to give us tens of millions of dollars to get the same benefit in humans, but with food. Meaning, can you devise a food formulation that people can eat for 5 days, but the cells do not recognize the food? So you're fasting, you're rejuvenating the cells, you're going biologically younger, you're getting your age backwards,
You're
but
getting the
you're eating
benefits,
food.
but you're still eating, is what you're saying.
Yes. So we called it the fasting mimicking diet. And this is why it's called the fasting mimicking diet. It's a 5 day box that gets shipped to your house. We call it Prolon, promoting longevity. Prolon, Prolon.
Okay.
Prolon is a box of nutrition. It's a very precise formulation. It took $36 million in research over 2 decades to discover a natural plant-based food formulation that you can eat, all premium, gluten-free, natural. There's nothing artificial or chemicals into
I mean,
it.
there's no processed stuff in there,
No
doctor?
processed stuff. So it's non-GMO, gluten-free, lactose-free,
Yeah,
etc.
that's awesome.
100% plant-based. And then so when you consume it over 5 days, your cells do not recognize the food. So you're getting the benefits of fasting without having to fast.
So let's pause there for a second because that sounds crazy to me. Is it just because it doesn't spike your insulin levels?
So there's two levels of a very good question. So insulin is a response to carbs, so it doesn't
Mhm.
spike insulin, but also doesn't spike IGF as a response to protein. So when we eat as humans, there's two things that tell the body there's food at the blood at the systemic level. Insulin when you eat carbs and IGF when you eat protein. And this is where the keto diet got it wrong because you don't spike insulin, but you're spiking IGF with the ketogenic diet because it has proteins. So the ketogenic diet doesn't talk about rejuvenating bioage, etc., because the cells detect the food. The keto helps you with losing a little bit of weight and the blood glucose, but
But it's
doesn't
not
help you.
anti-aging.
Yes, it's not anti-aging. So
Okay.
that's the problem with keto. So you got to find a formulation like Prolon that doesn't spike insulin, doesn't spike IGF. Now, this is
Can,
at the
can
systemic
we
level.
pause again?
Mhm.
My job is to pause because as soon as the question comes up, I feel like our listeners might feel
Yeah,
the same way. So IGF protein, that's a little bit of a new term for me because we're told, especially over 40, especially if females, like our muscle tone is super important. So, can you share just a little bit before we get into more of that? What is your take on protein levels? Because with this fast mimicking diet, from what I read, right, the protein levels are not too high. But
yeah.
I mean, there's a different reason for that, right? You're doing something for 5 days to rejuvenate. Whereas if I'm trying to, keep my
Not
muscle
only that,
tone,
actually, we found out that the metabolic rate is protected and muscle is protected. A lot of athletes, I don't want to mention name, even NBA players, NFL
Mhm.
players do it, and they do protein after it. Remember, this is 5 days only, and I'll describe why muscle is
Right,
protected.
right.
They do it actually to increase muscle mass, which is completely contradictory to what you would
They do
instinct.
this 5 day thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so I'll explain to
Yeah.
you why. The secret of fasting is comes in as a stress, right? As a stress, and the cells rejuvenate because of that. So one of the hormones that increase in the body, which is a stress hormone, is growth hormone.
Right. Human growth
So
hormone.
when
Yep.
you're fasting on prolon, your growth hormone is high. When growth hormone is high, the muscle has all the push to grow. The beauty with prolon, it includes carbs and protein. It's not a water fast. So growth hormone is telling the muscle to grow. You're feeding the muscle plant-based sources of proteins and carbs, and you're rejuvenating muscular cells, the
Okay.
autophagy. So this is why we actually have done 3 trials where we measure muscle, and one of them is only on muscle. We went extreme, male, young athletes, so everything about muscle for them.
Yeah.
And we did the fasting mimicking diet versus Mediterranean diet, and the fasting mimicking diet protected muscle function and performance. And
Wow.
because of the trio that I mentioned, under the stress of fasting, you get growth hormone high. You're feeding because it's a fasting mimicking nutrition. There's food in it, there's nutrients, macros, and then you're rejuvenating muscle cells. Now, on top of that, you're losing fat only. So you're protecting muscle. You're losing fat only. There's no diet that can selectively tap into fat only except the prolon. And we have multiple patents on that. And even the GLP-1, the Ozempics, a lot of people today are using Ozempic or
Did you
other.
just say it just taps into the fat levels? Is that what you said?
Yes, it just melts down the fat while protecting muscle.
Is everybody listening?
Yes,
Say that again.
yes. It's the only patented and tested nutrition to selectively, because fasting goes after fat.
Yes.
Fasting is not like every other diet. Every other diet works by low calorie. When you drop down calories, also when you inject GLP-1s, you decrease your food intake. When you decrease, you lose muscle and fat together.
Uh-huh.
When you stress, like fasting for 5 days, and you have enough food for the muscle, you're rejuvenating the muscle and protecting it while you're
Yeah, that
losing
makes sense.
fat.
So, like, how many calories are based on this diet for 5 days? Like each day?
So
Is
the
it like,
first day of Prolon, when you open the box, it has 5 smaller boxes, and each one is a day. Day one is 1,100 calories. Day
oh,
2 and 3 and 4 and 5 are 800 calories. So this is not a starvation diet.
I
It's a true
mean,
nutrition. Yeah, it's a nutritious. It has 77 nutritional elements.
so is it like dry based or is it like what types of food are there? I think I saw like, what did I see? A soup?
Yeah, so in the morning you have what we call the fast bar or the L bar. It's a bar that
Okay.
you eat in the morning and mimics fasting. And then you have lunch is a soup base plus some snacks. And
Okay.
then so like kale crackers and olives. And dinner, and you have an afternoon small bar, a Choco Crisp bar. And you have dinner soups plus also snacks that come with it. And you have vitamins and minerals in pills, and you have your omegas as well. So full supplementation, full food. You have a drink that you drink throughout the day, that glycerol-based drink called the L drink. And you have
L
teas
drink.
just for you to use
What is
whenever.
the L drink base? What is it?
It's
Like,
a glycerol base. So it
oh,
gives you base energy for the muscle throughout the day and base calories so that you don't dip into any hypoglycemia or any.
is it like there's no flavor in it? Is there? I'm just curious.
But it has, I think there's a berry and there's an orange
Oh, nice.
flavor in those. Yeah.
And then you can drink water, or is it really
Yeah.
restricted to, yeah, you can drink
No,
as
for
much water
sure.
as you want.
For sure. Water
No
is
caffeine, right? You can't drink your black coffee or
only
anything like that.
1 cup of black coffee.
Oh, one. Okay. Whew. Thank goodness. This broadcast is brought to you by the Fit and Pretty Life fitness app. Ladies, are you tired of aging way too fast? Well, we need to get more movement into your day. And one way to do that is getting around 30 minutes a day of movement. The Fit and Pretty Life fitness app can help you with that. These are high intensity, low impact, so you're not going to kill your joints. This includes booty, abs, arms, total body, and legs. Now, I know what you're thinking. I can't do the workouts at home. I have to go to the gym. I have to be around people. Well, for now, for a limited time, you do get 2 live Zoom workouts a week. We work out on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find us in our show notes here from the direct link, or you can find us on Apple Fit and Pretty Life app. We will see you soon. That's
Yeah.
okay. So I'm assuming you've done it. Can you tell us your experience with it then? Like,
Oh,
and
for
then
sure.
how
We
many?
just crossed 1 million user of the Prolon. So,
Nice.
and we gathered 18 universities together to do clinical trials on the benefits of Prolon, right? Stanford, USC, UCLA, Mayo Clinic. We put the top university
Oh my
medical
gosh, I
schools.
have not heard of this. I'm so glad you're here because
Yeah,
I'm all into all this stuff. So
yeah,
I'm going to try it.
100%. And we just crossed 15,400 clinics, doctors registered with us to give it to their patients. So this is growing pretty substantially now. You
Wow.
didn't hear of it, and many people did not, because when COVID hit for 3 years, all our clinical trials were stopped. And then
Oh,
now, post-COVID, all the results are coming together. So it just picking up virally now. So yeah, so we have we have just started our 40th clinical trial, human trial. You don't hear this on nutrition. It's tested in top medical centers. It shows clear benefits. It has patents. We filed 221 patents and already obtained 134 patents on Prolon. Patents for promoting longevity. It's the only product in the market
so
in
you
nutrition.
patenting the products, right? The
You
food and
patent
of
the
course
ingredient, the formulation, and for the claim, you're patenting this formulation to rejuvenate and regenerate the organs of the body to get
you're
them younger.
fasting with food. That's a whole
Yes.
new concept.
Yeah, it's an oxymoron. This is why the patents, if the patents come on a true innovation, and it's a big innovation that you can get the benefits of fasting while eating food.
And I know fasting's been around for a while, and I think this would help a lot of I mean, clearly it's going to help a lot of people because
It-
fasting to some people are so polarized by that. Like there's no way I can't not eat or they get hangry, right?
yeah,
And people who have their metabolism, their hormones levels are off, it's very hard, right? I know I've met people like that where they just I can't do it. I can't get
of
more than
course,
like
it's
8
exactly what I
hours.
said. If you're the CEO of a company, the last thing you want to hear that you have no money, right?
Right.
Because it's difficult to manage. Now, if
Right.
somebody comes and tells you, no, I'm going to give you, you need 1 million, I'll give you 500,000. Use it to pay your employees, use it to pay the good thing, and still fix where the deficit go and fix what's not going. This is exactly we made fasting safe, compliant, much easier to do, and we enhance it because you're feeding. So if you do water fast only, you lose muscle because you're not nourishing it. When you
Right.
do prolonged fasting, you're nourishing the muscle, so the muscle is
So the
rejuvenated.
muscle part is super important because I'm a
The
coach
muscle
too.
and the gut health. Because when you do water fast as well, you're depleting all the microbiota. When you do the prolonged fasting mimicking diet, you're nourishing the microbiota. You're selectively nourishing the plant-based microbiota. So you're changing your entire microbiome into a healthy one, which helps you with leaky gut, which helps you with inflammation. We just finished the trial with Stanford and University of Miami on colitis and Crohn's. These are GI tract autoimmune diseases. So there's multiple benefits happening that you're combining fasting with food. It's even better than just water fast, which is comes at a stress with all the risk that comes with it.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing to point out. Is that everything's optimal, right? Your muscles optimal, your cell rejuvenation, your gut microbiome. Am I missing anything else?
No, and this is what it took. This is why it took us, 12, 13 years and $36 million just to test that fasting mimicking and because you want to make sure that people can do it, they like it, and it's safe. It's very important to be safe, right? No
Hmm.
decreases of hypoglycemia, decreases of headaches, etc. It's still difficult on day three. Day three, you will feel the cells are changing. And by the way, a lot of people ask me, why you went to 5 days? Let's remind everyone listening to us today. Because a lot of people think that if they do intermittent fasting, 16 hours, I skip breakfast, I get to autophagy and I rejuvenate my cells. There's a lot of fake marketing there, a lot of authors of books, a lot of social media
I have
influence.
read that. I have read that.
Yeah, and
So
it's
that's not
very,
real?
of course not, because if you skip breakfast, there's not enough stress for the cells to rejuvenate. You have tons of fat to go through. You have tons of glycogen. It's like go back to the
That's more
company.
restrictive calorie than calorie
You
intake,
still
right?
have a
Would you
lot of
say?
reserves. So if you come to me, you say you're the CFO of a company, you need $1 million, I'm going to give you nothing for the next few hours. I'm like, okay, I have money in the bank. I'm not going to go restructure the company. Once
Right.
I deplete my reserve, I'll go and once I'm in a deeper stress. It's not going to happen because you missed breakfast. I mean, it doesn't happen. And they were able to get away with these with these wrong information because there was no human testing for autophagy. Now there are 8 centers in the US. So we went and we tested Prolon in the randomized clinical human trials. in University of San Antonio in Texas, and it shows that autophagy starts only after day 3, which is what we knew from the beginning.
Day 3.
Day 3.
Hey, so day 1 and 2 are you're
You're
still
breaking
hanging
down the
on to
fat.
that stuff.
Yeah, well, you don't need to put the cells into this restructure and rejuvenative if you have still glycogen and fat, and the liver can help. Autophagy happens every second. Every second there's a cell improving or whatever, but the wave of body autophagy only happens after day 3.
Right. That's sludge. That's what I read about. Like autophagy is getting rid of those cells that are just hanging around. We don't need them. Right.
Autophagy is each cell rejuvenating from the inside. What you're talking about is the next step is regeneration. So rejuvenation is autophagy. Regeneration is getting the body. This is what happens around day 5. I don't want to get into a lot of scientific
I'm
details.
fascinated. Right? We might have to do another one.
Yeah, but you're right. So once you fix the cells, right, the body now, and you're going to day 5, and the body's like, okay, now maybe I can get rid of old cells that are not just here consuming calories, not giving me anything, and push the younger cells to replace them. That's what happened on day 5 and 6 onwards.
That's what I need to get to. I'm all about trying this.
Yeah, it's not going to happen on day 1 or anything. This is why we had to discover
That's why
prolong.
you need something to carry you over to 5th day.
Yeah, and this is why people need to read science and the proof rather than just follow influencers that don't know what they're
I know
talking about.
it's crazy how much stuff is out there, and then you get confused. I mean, I'm a coach, so people come to me sometimes and ask me, and I'm not I don't have your master's degrees, but I know enough. I try to read, right? I mean, I do the best I can.
The most scientific book that you want to read on fasting is The Longevity Diet by Walter Longo. He's the
Yeah.
grandfather of fasting.
I connected the dots when, we first got introduced. So
Yeah, the Longevity Diet book was Amazon bestseller. That's really the true science behind fasting. You can read all. Walter Longo is the grandfather of this discipline, and he's ethical. 25 years of research before started to making claims, and before starting to, and he brought the 18 universities together. Again, if you chat GPT his name, he's the leading longevity nutrition scientist in the world. I definitely recommend people listen to his podcast, read his books, his articles versus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll find the link and put it in here for our show notes. So when we're talking about, like, you said you're getting a lot of findings in. So is there somewhere, are you guys documenting this and putting it out there, or are you still collecting a lot of the findings, or is there somewhere, that people can go and be like, oh, well, this will help with the brain. This will help with, is there anything out there right now that we can look at?
Yeah. If you go to the prolonlife.com, we have a science section. When you click on it, every scientific article published, peer-reviewed, university-based, published, whether on skin. I mean, I remember 3 years ago, a lot of the scientists were, if prolon is rejuvenating everything in the body, skin is the largest organ. And a lot of people, the first thing they say is my
anti-aging ladies.
skin.
Again, ladies, are you listening?
Especially menopautic. A lot of OBGYN prescribe Prolon for menopause. Like it does wonders because menopause, suddenly you're losing the skin glowness. We've done a full clinical trial on skin glowness, and it was a big challenge for us. Imagine we're changing skin glowness, skin texture with food without touching the skin, no cream, nothing. So this was done by leading dermatology clinics in Los Angeles. Randomized clinical trial. You put women on no intervention and women on Prolon, and it's not only the doctor examining, but also we're using ELISA to see the real composition of the skin. And it was published in a major journal showing that skin glowness, skin hydration, skin texture, and the two most statistically improved benefits were confidence and happiness.
Oh,
and we know that because many proloners, they tell us my skin is like when I was 20, 25. And this is with food. Imagine just food. It's 5 days, 5 days of food, because the rejuvenation. Every cell in the skin, when you're going on prolon, is feeling the pain of the fasting. Therefore, what they're going to do, they're going to rejuvenate, they're going to fix, they're going to get rid of all the debris, the organelles, the toxins, etc. naturally inside. We're not just touching the face. Every cell in your skin, total body, is going through that, and we see the results right away. On day 6, you feel my face is different.
Okay. Well, there's another reason, skincare right there. You guys are doing it all the wrong way. Just
we went too much on the
forget
science side, right?
Botox.
It's like start with the skin.
And now for a commercial break. Hey there, listeners. If you're ready to supercharge your health and embrace the benefits of fasting without actually starving yourself, then listen up. I've got something so exciting for you. I want you to say goodbye to the days of grueling fasting and say hello to Prolon. Prolon, Prolon. It is a game changer. It's a 5-day fasting mimicking diet that gives you all the benefits of fasting with the convenience of delicious, nourishing food. Imagine boosting your metabolism, supporting cellular regeneration, and feeling more energized, all while enjoying tasty, nutrient-rich meals. And guess what? You can now get 20% off your Prolon order with the special code Erica20. Yes, 20% off using the code Erica20. Just head on over to prolonlife.com. That's PROLONLIFE.com. Use Erica20 at the checkout to snag your discount. So, okay, let's talk about, so it's 5 days. You're going to, obviously you're saying you can see something, feel something based on a lot of the studies that you've already done. So that's great. So this is based on, research, trials. But after that 5th time, so how long is this recommended, right? So if you're trying to be anti-aging hero
Yeah.
here, you want
The
to be
article that we are most, I mean, 2 articles we're most proud of. The one that we're showing reversing diabetes, and
okay.
we can talk about that. But it's huge. Like it's 800% better than the current drugs in reversing and inducing diabetes remission. That's very big. The second article that we're very proud of is showing that if you do Prolon 3 times per year. So remember, it's 5 days, right? Do it 3
Right.
times per year. Pick trimester 1, 2, and 3, or do it 3 to 4
Yeah, it's not
times.
even 4. I mean, there's 4
Yeah, so
quarters
it's
in a year.
15 days out of 365 days. It's showing that, and it was published in Nature. Nature is the #1 science journal of the world. So we published in Nature. It was published just this past February 2024, and it showed that if you do the 3 cycles of Prolon, you're reversing your bioage by 2.5 years. Okay.
Every time. Oh, every
So
3
the
times
first
you
time,
do it.
yeah, every 3 times. When you do Prolon 3 times, and a lot of people, by the way, do it months 1, months 2, month 3. You get a lot of the changes fast. So you can do it 3 months throughout the year or 3 months in a row. 5 days first month, 25 days, go eat whatever you want. 5 days month 2, and everyone's like, what do you mean eat anything you want? Eat anything you want. It's changing the structure of the cells. It is not a diet, you lose weight and you gain weight. If you notice,
It's
I'm
not a
not talking
gimmicky
about
thing,
anything. It's not
right?
it's a cells getting younger. So in all our trials, we don't recommend any change of diet in the 25 days. So 5 days of Prolon, 25 days, go back to your diet. 5 days, of course, we would love for you to eat healthy, but I'm saying
Right.
regardless.
Don't go
5
to
days of
don't go to
Prolon
fast
month
food right
2,
after that.
25 days, yeah, and then 5 days of Prolon month 3, and then 25 days you go back to your diet. You do this, and it's showing there's a BioAge score that was developed by Yale University. We used that score to show that we reduce 2.5 years of BioAge when you do the Prolon fasting mimicking diet. Now, if you repeat every year, what we showed that if you do it between age 50 and 70, so 20 years, 3 times, 15 days every year, then your total BioAge reversal, your score reversed by 11.5 years.
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know of anything else that does that,
There's nothing
that
proven.
can
I mean,
prove that can be
yes,
proven,
you can
really.
talk NMN and AD every day. There's rapamycin, rapalog, and metformin. Nobody has a product that was tested in top medical universities, published in #1 science journal of the world, Nature, patented by U.S. and European governments for enhancing late aging and longevity, and makes sense because it mimics a natural phenomenon. Fasting is a natural phenomenon. And the power of prolon is because every cell is engaged. Every time you take a pill, say for the anti-aging pills that they're researching, it goes through a receptor. And when you push a receptor, you do effects and side effects. Like every pill in pharma, there's effects and side effects.
Right.
Fasting is natural intervention. Our ancestors fasted like naturally for every winter. They used to migrate. There was no food in the refrigerator all the
But they
time.
didn't have the good nutrition, right? Is that's probably why they never
Yeah, but they
in the
found
medical, right? They
we
just
we were we were built to eat and not to eat. We were not built to eat all the time, and this is
I
why
know.
these chronic diseases are happening today.
And
So
sit. Let's not forget about sit.
yes, so
Movement,
I
right?
believe with Prolon, we're rematching the body's optimal performance and what it was built epigenetically and genetically to do with our ancestors, lifestyles and the centenarians' lifestyle, right? When you
Right.
talk to centenarians, a lot of them practice fasting, and especially the circadian one, the overnight fasting is very important. Every day, if you eat all the time, you're just going anabolic and storing fat, getting closer to diabetes, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular, etc. When you balance, you eat, and then 12 hours you don't eat. This is where you're balancing metabolically your nutrition, and then 2 or 3 times per year you do the 5 days. You're resetting and rejuvenating your cells.
And I think about now, I mean, I've always thought about fasting this way, but now more than ever, when you give your body a chance to rest from like doing all that digestive stuff, it doesn't have time to fix everything else. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
I
So
feel like
the,
that's the
the
way I look at it. Is that a good way to
100%.
look at it?
The Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2016, we said it was autophagy. The Nobel Prize in Medicine 2017 was on the biological clock of the cells, of the organs, meaning everything in our body has to sleep at night. It's a pillar of longevity, sleep. It's the fourth pillar. And if you eat late at night, this is what's happening today. You're eating late at night, we're snacking over across the TV, etc. And then the problem, or we're stressing, we have work, we have to-do lists, all of us, we
Yeah.
get those stresses. The problem now, your entire digestive system is not sleeping, and so the body is not sleeping well. And then number two, when you sleep at night, the anabolic hormones are high. So growth hormone is high, and in the morning, insulin are high. So the calories that come in, they actually are going in to be stored. And so it's very important to not eat late at night. Eat around 7,
The
8.
leptin and ghrelin, am I right?
Yes, those are more related to satiety, yes, but the anabolic ones are insulin and growth hormone
Oh,
and
right.
IGF, and they're high when you eat at night. So everything is going. In the old days, we used to say calorie in, calorie out. Each calorie that's not the right concept. What you eat at night gets stored. What you eat in the morning, because you're catabolic, you're walking, you're exercising, everything is moving into its expenditure. What you eat in the morning is what you're breaking down throughout the day. What you eat at night is more what you're storing. And this is
Right.
very important. This part of intermittent fasting is very important. It's important to eat early and then still have breakfast, eat early at night and still have breakfast versus eat late at night and skip breakfast and eat then at 2 p.m. This is the wrong intermittent fasting. People skipping, doing 16 hours saying, I'm not losing weight because you're doing it wrong. You're eating late at night and you're just skipping morning the breakfast, which is very important to nourish your body in the morning when the body is requiring the most calories.
So what do you do on a normal basis after this fast mimicking diet? Are you a big breakfast fan then? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't go for a big breakfast, but I
Just
am a
something to
breakfast
break the
for sure.
fast.
In the Journal of American College of Cardiology, top cardiology journal, shows you that those who skip breakfast have higher chances of cardiovascular death. And it's not because they just skip breakfast.
Yeah,
It's
there's
just
other.
they end up eating late at night. It's all about there's what I call intentional intermittent fasting, meaning I'm planning to do it. I'll eat early my dinner and I'll still get my breakfast. I just did 12 to 14 hours. If you eat your dinner at 7, you eat your
Sure.
breakfast at 8, 9, you already did 12 to 14 hours. And by the way, this is the most common feature of the centenarians. People living 100 and beyond, some of them have horrible diets. And some of them, they're interviewing with us, we're talking to them, and they're smoking at age 103.
Right.
But what they do, they don't stay up at night. They actually have their dinner when the sun is down, and they sleep after that.
I
And
know.
so they're doing the right intermittent fast, and they wake up and they get their breakfast. But they're
I know.
sleep. They're doing what we call a front end intermittent fasting, and that's very important. The wrong intermittent fasting is when we go with our lifestyles, we get a very high, we get dinner late and then we snack a little bit after. We sleep, we're storing all this extra calories. The cardiovascular system is not happy because we're increasing fat and insulin resistance. And then in the morning, when the brain is thinking and wants calories, when the heart is pumping faster because we're walking or going to the gym, they're craving for calories and saying, sorry, we're not going to give you calories this morning. We're going to starve you. And then, but late at night, when all of you are going to sleep, the brain and heart, we're going to overfeed you then. So
Yeah.
that
See,
match is
I
when
don't like to
intermittent
eat in the
fasting
morning.
is
Like,
failing.
I like, what is your stance on like doing workout? I don't like to eat before I work out because I feel like I like to, and this is my own personal thing. And then it's worked for me, but like, I don't eat late at night. I do follow that, that fasting, the European way. I think that's what you pointed out,
We
right?
call it
It's
circadian fasting,
yeah, the
meaning
circadian.
following day and night.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But for working out, I feel like I do. This is in my head, but like, do I burn more because I don't have those extra calories? I'm burning the stuff from the night before. So, I mean, I've followed that for a while. Is that something that you
Yeah,
kind of
the answer is it depends on your purpose. If you want to build muscle, you do want to eat ahead because you want to spike IGF with the muscle exercise and nourish the muscle. If you want to burn fat, of course you want to be more in a deprivation model. If you just want to lose the fat, of course you want to burn more than what you ingest. If you want to build up, if you're want to build up muscle,
right?
then you can also you don't in either way you should not eat heavy before exercising because
No,
you're
it
drawing
doesn't
the
even feel
blood.
good. And plus, no one else is going to appreciate that anyway.
But scientifically also you're drawing the blood to the GI system instead of to the muscle. So that also you cannot perform very high if you have a heavy meal before your workout, and you will divert the blood nourishment and the growth of the muscle. So for those who
Yeah.
want to build muscle, athletes who want to build, you can eat a little bit before. For those who just want to lose the weight, then you can do what you said, which is not
Yeah.
eat.
Okay. Um,
We love science. We love truth. We,
yeah. Yeah, that's why you're here.
you
Let's see. Was there anything else? This has been great. Is there anything else on the fasting? I've got all, at least in my mind, I feel like I have all the questions
To
answered.
summarize for people, if this was too much, we recommend if you want to live a healthy, long life, that on a daily basis, you do the right intermittent fasting, which is eat your dinner early and then the next day still have some breakfast. So that's the daily practice of centenarians. We study this and there's a gentleman by the name of Sachin Panda who studies intermittent fasting heavily. So follow day and night. When the sun is down, get your dinner, eat your breakfast. When the sun is
Yeah.
up, the next day, the body is used, and then your body sleeps perfectly at night. The best sleep happens when you eat that dinner. And then 3 times per year, do the prolonged fasting mimicking diet. The goal is at that time is to rejuvenate your cells so you're biologically younger, is to lose the extra fat that you have so you reset your metabolism. It's a great pro longevity, is what it's called prolonged, impact. So this is how I integrate fasting in my life, and this is how
And
we
you reduce, if we're summarizing, your years by 2.5 if you do it 3 times a year, right?
yes, it's
Yeah.
2.5
I think
years
that's a huge nugget right there. You want to
in a
live
natural way.
2.5 years younger every year?
In a natural way. Yeah,
That's
it doesn't compound every year. It compounds to 11.5 years if you do it 20 years in a row. Remember,
oh, gotcha.
you do 20 years between age 50 and 70, then you end up, because nothing you do compounds exactly the same. You benefit the most initially, and then it goes up to max 11.5 years of age reversal if you do it for 20 years. Yeah, an average American spends $150. So with over 5 days, there's no restaurants or whatever. So after the 20% discount, Rolla will be a little bit even cheaper than your daily food expenditure, close
Yeah,
to that.
because you're making it probably in volumes, right? So you guys are getting,
Yeah, a lot of people think about it as like, hey, it's saving me the cost of preparing my food, buying
and
my
you don't
food.
have to think about it. I think that's what's great about
Yes.
it. 5 days, I don't even have to think about making dinner. Everybody else in the house is going to figure it out.
Yes.
Or maybe everybody does it together, make it a family event.
A lot of couples do it together. That's the best way, actually.
Well, that's fantastic. This has been so much fun. If there's anything else that people want to reach out to me and you have questions for, we might do another one. But I'm going to do this. I will probably do a podcast on it too, with my
Yes.
experience. So I think that's the best way is to just keep sharing
There's nothing
this.
better than trying. It's 5 days. And guess what? You're gonna feel, you're gonna see. It's a experiential. And on day 6, you'll
Are you?
testify.
When's the last time you did the fast? Are you
Two
up
months
for another
ago.
one?
2 months ago.
2 months ago. Oh, you might be up
Yes.
soon.
Yes. In 1 month. Yes.
That's amazing. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Joseph. This is fantastic. I'll put, do you want to tell everybody where they can find you? I know I can put these links in the notes, but if there's anywhere on Instagram, I think you're.
Yeah, I'm active on all platforms, especially LinkedIn. It's Dr. Joseph Anton. So all the handles are the same.
Perfect.
drjosephanton.com is my website, and at Dr. Joseph Anton is the Insta and the Twitters and the Facebook, etc.
Great. Okay, perfect. It's been great. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
And that wraps up today's episode. I hope you found these insights on Prolong and the fasting mimicking diet as exciting as I did. And also, I want to let you know, if you liked this episode, stay closely tuned in because I'm going to be testing out the fasting mimicking diet, and I want to let you know how it all goes. And if you know someone who could benefit from a little boost in their health and longevity game, why not share this episode with them? It's always great to spread the word and help friends and family discover simple, effective ways to improve their well-being. And a reminder, I started this podcast because I really wanted to change more lives, and it starts with you. So if you want to share this or even leave a review, that would be fantastic because that helps the algorithm really boost up the rankings for this podcast. And again, I started this podcast to live a longer, healthier life, but also so we don't end up in a nursing home. Okay? Let's do it all together. Thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great rest of your week.